Hello, this is Paul from debatetheleft.com, and this is a response video to the little debate between UKIP's Liz Jones and defender of Islam, Sahar al Faifi. I found the little debate to be absolutely absurd. I probably don't have to tell you that I didn't agree with Sahar al Faifi, but I also thought that Liz Jones was not correct about what the exact problem with Islamic headscarves really is. Let's take a look.
Liz Jones, tell Sahar al Faifi why you would ban what she's wearing right now.
Well, two reasons. Number one, we have the issue of security. I'm sure you're aware, Sahar, on the 21st of May 2005, one of the London bombers endeavoured to escape by wearing the full niqab. So we have a security issue. Also, I'm sure you're aware, there was a recent robbery at Selfridges store in London where all the robbers wear the niqab. Also, I'm sure you're aware that there were big issues in student campuses, in the dormitories in Cairo, Jordan and Afghanistan with terrorists entering those buildings wearing the niqab. So we have a security issue. The second element, of course, is the issue of integration. And we have to accept that the move of the 21st century is toward total inclusiveness and cohesion within the public space. So many people would consider that a woman being covered would show that she is separated, whether willingly or unwillingly, from society.
I would like to add the following to this. This shouldn't be about safety measures. So this woman is wearing a niqab, but there are also other types of Islamic headscarves, such as the hijab. Wearing something like this is actually a political expression. This is because headscarves are actually a symbol for a certain political idea, and what this idea is can be traced back to the books of Islam, the Quran, the Sirah and the Hadith. And the idea is that women need to cover themselves up because they are dirty and inferior, and if they don't cover themselves up, men could get horny, which would then be to blame on the women. So this very offensive and nonsensical idea is basically being displayed into the public sphere in the UK. And I view this as a problem, because the UK is a part of the Western world, and even played an important role in the creation of the Western world. As a result of the feminist revolution, men and women are equal in the Western world, and women are not dirty and inferior. Let's compare this with another political symbol. This is Edward. Edward is wearing a KKK outfit. Now, if Edward would be walking through London, Liz Jones of UKIP wouldn't be saying things like, well, this is a security concern because we can't see his face. This is more than just a security concern, because this outfit is not just a nice outfit for costume parties. It is a political symbol that stands for a certain set of ideas. Another example. This is John. And John is wearing a swastika, which is a political symbol that stands for a certain set of ideas. So even though John's face isn't covered up and he can still be recognized, there is still a problem with his outfit. Anyway, let's listen to what Mrs. Al Faifi has to say.
Thank you very much. First of all, I have to explain why I am wearing the face veil. Number one, it's an act of worship. I am a human being who is in a spiritual journey, trying to connect with God, and that's why I'm wearing it.
So she argues that wearing this garment is an expression of religiousness. But this is only half true. Islam is both a religious doctrine and a political doctrine. There is no secularism in Islam, so there's no separation between the two. So therefore, wearing this is also a political expression. So even though she says that it is only a religious expression, that doesn't mean that the factual meaning of Islamic headscarves isn't political. Just as a point of comparison, here we have Christina. She's wearing a swastika t-shirt, which roughly refers to the idea that the Aryan race is superior to other races and that the Jews and certain other ethnic groups are a problem, which is a very racist and nonsensical idea. Now Christina can reply to this by saying, well, I am just wearing this because of spiritual reasons. Wearing this makes me feel very close to the source of all life energy. I can even feel it in my heart chakra. But that doesn't mean that the meaning of the swastika is actually up for discussion. It isn't. The swastika means what it means. You cannot argue about that. And the same is the case for Islamic headscarves.
Now, the narrative that niqab or the face veil is somehow undermine security, it's a false narrative, because number one, Muslim women who chose to wear it are minority within a minority, and this minority are more than happy to reveal their identity, whether an ID card or whenever is needed. So security is a false narrative. But with the rise of Islamophobia and the hostile environment around Muslims, there is politicians making irresponsible comments across the political spectrum, not only UKIP, because now it suits the context that we live, demonizing and scapegoating minorities.
So what Muslims always do in this situation is claiming a position of victimhood. And of course, within the 1 minute mark of her talk, she already mentioned the word Islamophobia. And then she claims that not only UKIP, but also the other political parties are scapegoating Muslims. This is simply not true. In fact, the opposite is true. Muslims in the UK are pampered and treated with a silver glove more than any other group of people that has ever lived in the UK. Just think about that. Muslims in the UK are pampered more than any other group that has ever lived in the UK.
The easiest target for that is the Muslim woman. And now if we are talking about empowering Muslim women and enhancing their integration, surely you should support their right to express their faith in the way they want. Theresa May said on the hijab day in February, what women wears is her woman or her choice.
This argument would make sense if we were talking about non-political garments. Yes, people can wear whatever they want, and this is also the case for women. But wearing a political symbol representing shockingly offensive ideas, such as the idea that women are dirty and inferior, is not quite the same as a non-political piece of clothing. Can Christina wear whatever she wants? She's also a woman, right? Can't women themselves choose whatever they want to wear? Well, let's say that she can, and that on a nice summer day in London, Christina is walking through the city wearing this. This will lead to a lot of outrage and criticism, which means that other people who are also present in the same public sphere will utilize their right to freedom of expression to criticize Christina. So then Christina will be mocked and criticized until she decides to go back home to change her clothes. And this is actually a good thing, because we don't want people in the Western world walking around in swastika t-shirts. So in that case, I am sure that there won't be a TV interviewer allowing Christina to tell her story on television in a debate against the British politician to complain about how oppressed she feels as a woman and how Brexit led to an increase of Nazi phobia and Nazi-phobic attacks against poor women wearing swastika t-shirts. That would be ridiculous, right? But this is actually very similar to what's happening right here.
After Brexit, there is an increase, a sharp increase in Islamophobic attack. I am facing Islamophobic attack, and so much so that it has become part of my life because of your irresponsible comments against Muslims, alienating them and otherizing them all the time. The same. Is this what you're talking about? This is assimilation. This is not integration. Okay, everyone has the right to express their faith, their sexual orientation, their belief, their views, as long as they don't harm anyone. This is what we live today in the multicultural British society. I am not going to accept to be assimilated into the larger society.
I think that everything that she says makes no sense if you look at what she actually represents. She tries to defend the right to wear Islamic symbolism by stating that everyone can be themselves, and she even mentioned sexual orientation. If you actually look at the ideology that Islam is, you can see that there's a huge difference between the idea that everyone can be themselves, including homosexuals, and the ideology of Islam. She acts as if she's preaching for women's rights and equality for everyone, but I don't think she actually cares about these values in and of themselves. I don't think she cares about the 1400 girls that got sexually abused in Rotterdam, for example. She doesn't protest against the treatment of women in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Afghanistan, and other Muslim countries. She is just defending Islam, and she has learned exactly how to do that in a Western country. She knows that we care about equality for minorities and women's rights, so therefore she mentions these things. I think that the attitude of this woman is a reflection of a bigger problem that we have with Muslims in the Western world. What Muslims in the West often do is using our free society to advance sets of ideas that oppose this very same free society. They use our right to freedom of expression to politically express their doctrine, in which this very same freedom of expression doesn't exist. They use our right of women to wear whatever they want to express the political idea that women are inferior into our public sphere. They use our freedom of religion to practice and advance a political value system in which this very same freedom of religion doesn't exist. And this hypocrisy is very ingrained into the Muslim mentality. Something that's failing in the UK and in the rest of the Western world right now is the maintenance of Western civilization. Because Western civilization actually needs to be actively maintained, and this is important, so that the generations that come after us can also live in a country where women can safely walk outside on the street during the night. In the West, men and women are equal, and this is an important part of our culture, and this actually needs to be maintained. Great Britain is the land of the British. It is their land. So it is their culture and their public sphere. And Islamic headscarves have no place in the public sphere of a Western country. Just like swastika t-shirts and KKK outfits have no place in a Western country. So thanks for watching and listening to this video. This is Paul Nielsen from debatetheleft.com. Never stop debating the left on Islam. Take care.